It was Sunday, 3rd September 1939, 1100 hours. Great Britain had declared war on Nazi Germany. It was 1200 on mainland Europe. German counter-declaration came at 12:59. No one on board U-30 wanted this. There was a tension and curiosity, but no one felt any enthusiasm. In the next few hours, U-30 was going to make a ghastly mistake. The tragic story of U-30 starts on 22nd of August 1939. U-boat left its base in Wilhelmshaven, but its active service began 12 days later on 3rd September 1939. U-30 was commanded by Fritz Julius Lemp. He was a captain lieutenant. That's the third lowest officer's rank in the German Navy and an equivalent to the rank of lieutenant. In 1939, Lemp was 26 years old, and he was in charge of U-30 for almost a year. He was respected and liked by his crew, and they had a confidence in his judgment. There was no time for hesitation underwater. At 1400, leader of the U-boats, Karl Donitz, sent another message. He reminded all commanders of strict orders to operate within prize rules. That meant passenger ships mustn't be sunk. Crews of merchant ships must be placed safely in lifeboats before sinking the vessel. What's more important, only ships that are a threat to the attacker may be sunk without warning. Hitler believed that France, the weaker of the Allies, was easier to dissuade from war and forbade attacks against French ships unless in self-defense. All the messages were received by the crew of U-30. At 16:30, the bridge watch sights a large ship on the horizon. Lemp decides to close the distance. Looking through the periscope, he observes that the ship is blacked out and is zigzagging on a defensive course. Taking into account its unusual route through Rockall Bank, Captain Lieutenant Lemp concludes it must be a British armed merchant, a ship armed with guns. No warning is necessary under the prize regulations. At 1940, U-30 is still submerged and Lemp gives the order to fire torpedoes. The first one malfunctions, but the second one finds its target. Lemp decides to dive to avoid danger from the first unexploded torpedo. When he surfaces, he observes that ship does not seem to be sinking. He orders a third torpedo. This one misses too, but it is probably responsible for the claims of some of the survivors that the surfaced U-boat fired shells from its cannon. U-30 intercepted Athenia's distress call, SSS, attacked by the submarine. Lemp asked for Lloyd's register of ships. He was shocked when he realized what he had done. This attack was a terrible mistake. Athenia was an ocean liner with 1,418 people on board. Many were women and children. U-30's radio operator, George Hogel, later said they couldn't give them any help and were unable to take any people on board. This doesn't change the fact that Lemp had disobeyed all orders. He failed to offer any help, and he decided not to report what he'd done. He had chosen to remain silent. He must have known of the possible consequences his action would have on Germany. It was the first day of war with Great Britain, and he had broken all the rules. Within 24 hours, this German act of total war against civilians had been reported worldwide. Lemp's attack was a propaganda gift to the British. Hitler's first step was to deny any responsibility. Propaganda Minister Joseph Goebbels issued a statement claiming it was a British torpedo that sunk Athenia, and Churchill had planned this, hoping that he could bring the USA into the war. German Grand Admiral Reeder was told that no U-boat was nearer than 120 kilometers to the location of Athenia. He then informed, in good faith, the American charge d'affaires that the German Navy was not responsible for the sinking Athenia. The whole crew of U-30 had promised to keep what had happened a secret. However, when the submarine sailed back to the base in Wilhelmshaven, the crew was waving a pennant with the figure 14,000, which was tonnage of Athenia. Lemp had informed Karl Donitz that he had sunk Athenia. He was then sent to Berlin to speak with Grand Admiral Reeder. Erich Reeder informed Hitler what had actually happened to Athenia. Führer decided to keep the incident secret for political reasons. The log of U-30 had been altered and its crew sworn to keep the secret. At the Nuremberg trial, Admiral Karl Donitz admitted for the first time that Athenia had been torpedoed by U-30 and the Germans had done everything they could to possibly cover it up. Of the 1,418 people on board the Athenia, 98 passengers and 19 crew members were killed. Fritz Julius Lemp, whilst commander of U-110, died on 9 May 1941 trying to destroy secret materials on board his vessel. He failed, and the Allies retrieved top-secret documents and the Enigma machine. I have put a lot of effort in researching this subject and creating video. If you like, please rate it and subscribe. If you have any suggestions or would like me to make a video on any given subject, please put it in the comments. Cheers, and thanks a lot.